Well, good morning, Calvary Church. It's Genelle here. I'm in Key Largo with my friend Elizabeth. We are down at a conference down here for the larger church conference, which is senior pastors of ELCA congregations who worship multiple people, and we're just learning about how to reach more in this virtual age and a lot of good things. So we're down here in Key Largo, and welcome to the Calvary Connection. We are going to share a little bit about our 3 congregational goals through my sabbatical: reflect well, be well, and explore well. So Elizabeth, thanks for being on with me today. I'm glad to have you.
My pleasure, Genelle. And explain what kind of beverage you have here.
I have a Cuban coffee. This is new to me. My friend Elizabeth introduced me to it. It is not espresso. It's not a latte. It's not a cappuccino, although we've heard them called all 3 things. But we finally found a Cuban grandma who knew how to make them this morning. So we're enjoying our Cuban coffee and joining you for a podcast. So it's already a great day.
Great day here in Key Largo. Great day.
Well, thanks for joining me, Elizabeth. Why don't we start with just sharing how we met, or a memory that you have with me, so we can share with my congregation.
Sure. Maybe 5-6 years ago, I was an associate pastor in Northwest Minnesota, and I was considering putting my name in for the senior pastor role at the congregation where I was then serving. And our kids were small.
Yeah.
4, 2, and 0 at the time. 4, 2, and then we had an infant. And so I didn't know if it was a good time. I didn't know if it was something that could work with a family to be a leader of a congregation and have small kids at home. And everyone that I was visiting with in my area, I'm from the Moorhead area, I'm in a small town, Dilworth, everyone said, "Oh, you should talk to Genelle. She did that." At Calvary. So I drove in a snowstorm. It was snowy. From Dilworth to Bemidji, and we met at the Green Mill.
We did.
My first time there. Delicious.
Yes, it's delicious.
Yep.
The conversation was even better.
Yep. And Genelle talked about how Calvary raised her, and she's raised her kids at Calvary, and how that it's a blessing. It's not always easy, and it's a blessing at the same time. And she encouraged me to throw my hat in, and I did, and I've been grateful ever since, honestly.
Yeah, it's been great to have a partner in ministry like Elizabeth. Like I said, the young mother, a great leader, and I think that we have refined each other to be better versions of ourselves by taking some time to come to conferences like this. We also were involved together in a leadership kind of academy that just continued to give us the resources so we didn't have to feel like we were alone. And again, Fargo, Moorhead, Bemidji is not that long of a commute, so we've tried to make some time to get together and share resources, and I have really appreciated that. And I think that will continue as long as we're in ministry together. Cheers.
Cheers.
Yes. So that's a great memory. Elizabeth has just been a wonderful leader, and she has connections all over the U.S. With people that she's met along her journey, which has been great to learn from them too. So I've really been blessed to travel in her back pocket and meet some wonderful people and have some great experiences too. Our second goal is to be well, and both Elizabeth and I have talked about, again, the rigorous role and trying to balance the cultural expectations of being a mother and a woman leader in kind of a man's world still. We were 4 women at this conference out of hundreds of guys that are leading large congregations, but they have embraced us. We've worn them down. And they appreciate, I think, some of what we bring to the table. But really focusing on our health and wellness and being well so that we can give of ourselves, as well as congregations kind of being well. And so what have you learned through your context and individually and in your church that has helped you be the best you can be?
Sure. One thing personally that's helped me be well through ministry and as a parent, as a spouse, all of that, is finding time to connect with people that you adore and that are inspiring. And I don't do well if I don't see Genelle, if I don't see this handful of other small colleagues pretty regularly. It really helps center me on the call that God gives us to serve the world and the church, and most of all to serve the gospel. So connecting with friends, even if it's in Key Largo or the Green Mill in Bemidji, that's really precious. Congregationally, this congregation has been a real gift to me spiritually to be well, because they are people who are very grateful. They say thank you. They aren't fussy with each other when small things go wrong. They are grateful to be together, especially this last year. We're still 100% parking lot and online church, but even those small minutes and moments of being together in our church parking lot are times that people rejoice in. And so I think that gratefulness piece.
Yeah.
And then the other life-wise piece is slowly and surely making my physical health a priority. That used to be part of my life, and then sometime maybe in the last, honestly, since becoming a senior pastor, it hasn't been a priority. And so 25 pounds later, that's now, I'm still cute, it's okay.
Sure, you are.
Yeah, but it's like, oh, gee whiz, I don't want to be unhealthy. I don't want, my dad's diabetic. I don't want that. And so I'm in a journey of, every week I've now carved out 2 times. My goal is 4, but at this point I'm still, until our kids are slightly older, I have 2 times a week where my husband always will take the kids. So one of them's Friday evenings. I go with a bunch of girlfriends from our church, and we run or go to the gym, and then another morning a week. And I can either go to the gym, which I haven't done because of the whole COVID. But I do run outside or do something else.
Good. Yeah, I think trying to move my body for 30 minutes a day has been a challenge, and it doesn't sound like it's that hard, but I too am just thinking about like a standing desk at work, or maybe a bicycle just to move my legs, even if I'm in a Zoom call or something, just to try to move my body. And I do think that that'll be a part of the Be Well moving forward, and just thinking about what can I do and do okay. I'm not a personality that would probably train for a marathon. I just need more variety in my exercise, so just knowing that about myself. And at Calvary, we're trying to figure out what's God calling us to be, and really do that and do that well. And I think in the same way, the body needs to work well together. And when we have shared mission goals, there are a lot of churches around us, you too, how can we share in the kingdom ministry together instead of feel like every church has to do every piece of the kingdom ministry. So we hopefully will be exploring some of that too, which gets to our third goal, the Explore Well goal. You might hear in the background that Catherine is with us in Key Largo, and it's been a great joy to have her around. People have been impressed with, as you've raised her too, her ability to converse with adults and be a part of the conversation. And she's a remote learner, so she's down here too in school, and it's been great to explore the new land, introduce her to lobster and shrimp and crab cakes and Cuban coffee and the things. And I think she was nervous that there were more people like me in this world. What? We're going with a group of pastors, and not even very many because of COVID. But exploring new lands and exploring what God has created us to do. And something I really appreciate about Elizabeth is that she's always focused on the gospel. If it's not about Jesus, if it's not pointing to Jesus, even when we try to make it a soft entry to Jesus, she's like, let's cut that out. I've so appreciated that with you. We talked earlier about, community gardens serve a purpose and they feed people, and that's all good. But that really is too soft. Let's talk about Jesus here. You have to work hard to talk about tomato being Jesus. And so tell us a little bit how you have explored ways to just really get the gospel of Christ communicated.
Actually, one way has really been inspired by Genelle's leadership in Calvary. Some of you may know that the confirmation ministry at Calvary for many years, I don't know how long, since you've been around,
right.
has also invited other congregations, sometimes congregations in pastoral transitions or that don't always have the staff to facilitate that. And I'm a real believer in sharing the gospel with every age and really honing in on those precious middle school years to share Jesus. And so hearing about Calvary and one of the other pastors that's been part of that has just adored it.
Yeah.
And so he shared a lot with me at a fall theological gathering, a thing our synod does every fall to bring pastors together. And so our that started the exploring in our congregation about, we're doing this confirmation ministry well. We're sharing the gospel well, not just with the youth who are in confirmation, but with the folks, because we do a lot of family ministry in confirmation. And so we have had between 2 and 3 congregations now for 2 years doing confirmation with us. We've shared resources. But our congregation for maybe 3 or 4 years did our core values as an exercise, and one of ours is to share the gospel with precision.
I love it.
And
it's so focused. It's so laser focused.
Yeah, and it's super easy then at church council at every single every committee meeting. We're pretty we're organized by committees, and so every binder has our core values on the front, and if it isn't a core value, it's something we can do, but it's not something we're going to put significant energy into as a congregation.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, we learned a little bit about diversity, and one of the ELCA goals is to continue to be more diverse, and we're trying to put that in our context of where we live, not in really urban settings like many of our colleagues who work in that. But I think it was still really good tools in thinking too about how do we lead with Christ. How do we allow people to bring who they are to the table so that we can be improved too and better. And I think too, just sticking to what is important to us, those values, does help us explore kingdom ministry in kind of a freedom way. I think people initially think it's restrictive, but actually it launches us into a more focused ministry that I think everyone can participate in, and you've done a great job of that.
And more joyful ministry, because the world has 1,000 options, but there's real joy in doing something well. And that's been a delight at our congregation, is to say, oh, that is who we are, and we are a Lutheran Christian witness here in this little neck of the woods, and we're going to do the very best that we can with the tools that God has given us here.
Is she great? Yeah. I know. I love her too. I knew you would too.
Next time you're in Moorhead for anything, come to Dilworth Lutheran for church.
I would agree. It's great there.
It is.
It is a great little place. Yep. Well, thanks for tuning in to this week's Calvary Connection podcast. Again, my guest is Elizabeth today. We're at the Senior Pastor Conference for large ELCA congregations, and it's just been a great joy to be with you this week, to be refined by you, to learn some new things, and really to be in relationship. So thanks, church, for joining in. We'll see you next time.
Bye Calvary.